HMS Goliath was one of the 6 Canopus-class pre-dreadnought battleships built by the Royal Navy in the late 19th century. Commissioned in 1900, she served in the Far East on the China Station until 1905, at which time she joined the Mediterranean Fleet. In 1906, she was attached to the Channel Fleet. Having been mothballed prior to the outbreak of the First World War, she was returned to full commission. Goliath took part in operations against German East Africa, participating in the blockade of the German light cruiser HMS Königsberg in the Rufiji River. From March 1915, she was part of the Dardanelles Campaign, and remained in support of the landings at Gallipoli in April. On 13 May 1915, Goliath was sunk in Mortar Bay off Cape Helles by 2 torpedoes from the Turkish torpedo boat destroyer Muavenet I Milliye, which was manned by a combined German and Turkish crew, drowning 570 of her 700 crew members, including her captain, Thomas Laurie Shelford. Technical characteristics: HMS Goliath was laid down at Chatham Dockyard on 4 January 1897 and was launched on 23 March 1898. She was commissioned in March 1900. Goliath and her 5 sister ships were designed for service in the Far East, where the new rising power Japan was beginning to build a powerful and dangerous navy, and to able to transit the Suez Canal. They were designed to be smaller, lighter, and faster than the predecessors, the Majestic-class battleships, although they were slightly longer at 430 feet. In order to save weight, Goliath carried less armor than the Majestics. Although the change from heavy armor in the Majestics to Krupp armor in Goliath meant that the loss in protection was not as great as it might have been, Krupp armor having greater protective value at a given weight than its heavy equivalent. Still, Goliath's armor was light enough to make her almost a second-class battleship. Part of her armor scheme included the use of a special 1-in armored deck over the bell to defend against plunging fire by howitzers that France reportedly planned to install on its ships, although this report proved to be false. Goliath had 4 12-in, 35-cal guns mounted in twin turrets fore and aft. These guns were mounted in circular barbets that allowed all-around loading, although at a fixed elevation. She also mounted 12 6-in, 40-cal guns in addition to smaller guns, and 4 18-in submerged torpedo tubes. Goliath and her sister ships were the first British battleships with water tube boilers, which generated more power at less expense in weight compared with the cylindrical boilers used in previous ships. The new boilers led to the adoption of fore and aft funnels, rather than the side-by-side funnel arrangement used in many previous British battleships. The Canopus-class ships proved to be good steamers, consuming 10 short tons of coal per hour at full speed, with a high speed for battleships of their time, a full 2 knots faster than the Majestics. Operational history: Pre-World War I, Goliath commissioned on 27 March 1900 to serve on the China Station, where she underwent a refit at Hong Kong from September 1901–April 1902. She left the China Station in July 1903 and returned home, where she paid off into the commissioned reserve at Chatham Dockyard on 9 October 1903. While in reserve, Goliath underwent a refit at Palmer's on the Tyne from January–June 1904, then participated in maneuvers later in the year. On 9 May 1905, Goliath returned to full commission at Chatham to relieve her sister ship Ocean on the China Station. However, Great Britain and Japan ratified a treaty of alliance while she was on her outbound voyage, allowing the Royal Navy to reduce its presence on the China Station and recall all battleships from those waters. When Goliath reached Colombo, Ceylon in June 1905, she was recalled, and was instead attached to the Mediterranean Fleet. In January 1906, she was transferred to the Channel Fleet. After being fitted with fire control, Goliath transferred to the Portsmouth division of the new Home Fleet on 15 March 1907. She was based at Portsmouth, and underwent a machinery overhaul there from August 1907 to February 1908. Upon completion of her refit, Goliath commissioned on 4 February 1908 for Mediterranean Fleet service. During her voyage to Malta, one of her propeller shafts fractured, and she required a 4-month repair period before she could begin her service. On 20 April 1909, she paid off at Portsmouth. On 22 April, Goliath recommissioned to serve in the 4th Division, Home Fleet, at the Nore. During this service, she was refitted at Chatham in 1910-1911 and was sent to Sheerness. In 1913, she was mothballed and joined the 3rd Fleet, also known as the Pembroke Reserve, at Pembroke Dock in Wales. World War I. When the First World War broke out in August 1914, Goliath returned to full commission, and was assigned to the 8th Battle Squadron, Channel Fleet, operating out of Devonport. She was sent to Lockheed as guard ship to defend the Ground Fleet anchorage, and then covered the landing of the Plymouth Marine Battalion at Ostend, Belgium on 25 August 1914. Goliath transferred to the East Indies Station on 20 September to support cruises on convoy duty in the Middle East, escorting an Indian convoy to the Persian Gulf and German East Africa until October. She then took part in the blockade of the German light cruiser HMS Königsberg in the Rufiji River until November, during which crew member Commander Henry Peel Ritchie won the Victoria Cross. She bombarded Dar es Salaam on 28 November and 30 November. Goliath underwent a refit at Simon's Town, South Africa, from December 1914 to February 1915. When it was completed, she went back into service as flagship for Vice Admiral King Hall and resumed operations against Königsberg at the Rufiji River until March 1915. Dardanelles Campaign. On 25 March 1915, Goliath was ordered to the Dardanelles to participate in the campaign there. She transferred her flag to second-class cruiser Hyacinth and departed for the Dardanelles on 1 April, commanded by Captain Thomas Laurie Shelford. Goliath was part of the Allied fleet supporting the landing at X and Y beaches during the landing at Cape Helles on 25 April, sustaining some damage from the gunfire of Ottoman Turkish forts and shore batteries, and supported Allied troops ashore during the First Battle of Alcite Tepe that day. She covered the evacuation on 26 April. She was damaged by Turkish guns again on 2 May, lost since the Turkish army had no long-range cannons. Battleships with large-caliber armament like Goliath were able to remain out of range and had caused extensive casualties on the Turkish side. Though it seemed impossible, the Turkish General Staff decided to sink Goliath. On the night of 12-13 May, Goliath was anchored in Mortar Bay off Cape Mehmet Sheikh, along with Cornwallis and a screen of 5 destroyers, in foggy conditions. Around 100 on 13 May, the Turkish torpedo boat destroyer Muavenet I Milliye eluded the destroyers Beagle and Bulldog and 3 others enclosed on the battleships. The Muavenet I Milliye reversed down the Dardanelles, moved slowly, stern first, and was mistaken by officers on watch for a British vessel. It fired 2 torpedoes which struck Goliath almost simultaneously abreast her fore turret and abeam the fore funnel, causing a massive explosion. Goliath began to capsize almost immediately, and was lying on her beam ends when a 3rd torpedo struck near her after turret. She then rolled over completely and began to sink by the bows, taking 570 of the 700-strong crew to the bottom, including her commanding officer, Captain Thomas Laurie Shelford. Although sighted and fired on after the first torpedo hit, Muavenet I Milliye escaped unscathed. Goliath was the 4th Allied pre-dreadnought battleship to be sunk in the Dardanelles. After her loss, the flagship Queen Elizabeth was sent back to England. for sinking Goliath. Turkish captain of Muavenet I Milli Ahmet Safay Bey was promoted to rank of commander and awarded the gold medal, and the German consultant, Captain Lieutenant Rudolf Ferl, was also awarded the gold medal by Ottoman Sultan